So what winds brought you to the oyster world?
Oh, a lot of good winds, I guess. They didn't seem good at the time. But I guess probably 7 fires in 6 months tore down the empire I was trying to build, and we had to look at alternatives. So we sold things until we were square with the world, and what we had left we put into the oysters.
Why go into oysters?
Well, the family had been involved in oysters right from the very beginning, so historically I had heard stories about it. And as I was working at all these other things and running in circles, cackling like a rooster with its head half chopped off some of the time, I needed something to relax. And I always thought if you were going to relax, it'd be a good idea to make money while you were doing it. So I started out with a license to recreationally fish oysters, because that was relaxing and I loved oysters. So then I had the opportunity to move that to a commercial license. So I get the commercial oyster license and started doing that just as a hobby because it relaxed me. And so, you know, I knew the industry. Is what basically happened. Oyster farming is like a lot of things. It can be as simple as you want to make it. You work in harmony with nature. Or it can get as complicated as you want, where you grow oysters in an area where they really don't want to grow, and you use artificial systems. If I had my way, I would never charge for an oyster, because in the native culture, food is something you share, and an oyster was something that was special in the culture and something to be shared at a party or a gathering or a get-together. But being practical, and thank goodness I have a wife that's a lot more practical than me and a daughter that's more practical than I am, they're able to do it in such a way that I make money and they can keep me going doing the silly things. But oysters are all about a good experience. If you take an oyster out, you open an oyster up, you share it with somebody. If you're lucky, maybe you have a sip of beer or a little sip of wine or something along with it. And it's an experience, and it's a sharing of something in common. And it just gives you a good feeling. Well, I've had a lot of days that weren't happy at one time, but if you decide you're going to be happy, you got a lot better chance than if you're not determined to be. Whether you have a positive outlook on stuff certainly makes it come out a lot better than if you say, well, you know, Monday, jeez, Monday suck. Well, Monday it will suck if you start out that way. But you say, oh gee, this is Monday, this is going to be one great week, this is just the first day, usually go pretty good. Well, the family's grown up here on the shores of this bay for a lot of generations now. My people came in here in 1783, and ever since, on the family farm or in business, whatever they're in, there's always been 3 generations, and they always stood together. And my greatest joy is when there's myself and when Rachel or any of my children and their children, when we're all together doing something. It's just something that's a part of our heritage, our DNA, and it's just a wonderful feeling just to have them there, and it's just all so much fun. I can't quite stop. The only thing I think I'd like to share is that if you have a dream, if there's something you want to do, don't be afraid to do it. Because life is really short. And when we get through it, there's nothing wrong with saying I failed at something. But if you didn't try it, you never know. So, give her! That's it for me.